about us. No one knows who we are, and you need to know who we are. We started our mini political career. What do you say, Wally? About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago,
About 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Oh, time goes by quick. What can I tell you? But yeah, I started about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I started my political career with a gentleman by the name of Frank Coconati. He was running for 9th District Cook County Commissioner, and I did assistance with him. And afterwards, I went on to assist Walter, and Walter tried to get on the ballot for alderman this past election. He also tried to get on the ballot for state rep. Is that correct, Walter?
That's correct.
And I tried to get on the ballot for alderman as well. But I got to tell you, we weren't very successful. But it was our first time around. We learned a lot. We met a lot of nice people, a lot of not so nice people. But that's how you learn as you go through the ropes. And I'm very gratified to be here today. And first and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Frank Coconati, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this seat. And I want to thank Walter for being here too, alongside me. And that being said, we're going to go on to our guest, Mr. Carl Anthony Segvich. Carl, how are you doing today?
Pretty good for a sinner. Thank you.
All right. That's pretty cool. Carl, tell us a little bit about yourself in politics. When did you first start?
Here we are in the month of June, the month we Catholics, Christians celebrate the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ. Thanks and congratulations on this show, you guys. Your question was, when did I get started in politics?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
1988. I ran for the Republican National Presidential Convention as a Jack Kemp delegate. Jack Kemp was preparing to succeed President Ronald Reagan. Jack Kemp is no longer with us, God rest his soul. But that was my first campaign into politics.
Very interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong. I was looking you up a little bit. You successfully was elected to committee person, GOP committee person of the 11th Ward 4 times. Is that correct? 4 terms? You're on your 4th term right now?
Correct. Committee man. I don't like the term committee person. It feeds into the left's jargon. Yeah, I was elected 11th Ward Republican Committeeman in February 2008.
Oh, very good.
I got reelected 3 times, so you're correct. 4 times.
That's very good. That's an accomplishment by itself. Would you say, Wally?
That is true. Did you also ran for a Cook County Commissioner?
Yes, I did. 2 or 3 times. I won in 2014 in November. I beat John Daley, the mayor of the brother of Mayor Richard Daley, but they flipped the numbers just like they did to Trump. So I won the commissionership, Cook County 11th District, Cook County District in November of 2014, and they rigged the numbers. The machines went dead at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they came back at 5 o'clock in the morning, almost in exactly reverse.
Wow, that sounds all too familiar, right?
That is true.
Well, you hear a lot of that. It's unfortunate about crooked elections.
Could I say something?
Absolutely. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, so congratulations, and I wish you guys really do well with this program. I wanna put forward a foundation where I'm coming from. This is 2023 AD, and the United States of America is a banana republic. It's officially a banana republic. It's definitely a third world country, banana republic. The government was overthrown. You can argue November 3rd, 2020 or before that, but for sure by 2020, November 3rd, when they rigged the election, early in the morning, November 4th, they stole it from Trump and gave it to Biden. And I'm not even a big Trump fan, but I just want to say everything that I'm saying comes from what I acknowledge, what many people acknowledge, but what some people still don't understand. So we are living in a banana republic, third world country. We got a demented, evil, corrupt man sitting in the White House. I just want to lay the groundwork. Like you guys you have a talk show and you have your ground rules, and I respect them. I just want people to know where I'm coming from. I acknowledge the United States of America has undergone a coup d'etat.
Amen. I quite agree with you. Joe Biden is an evil man, in my opinion.
He's Sleeping Joe.
So there you go. I have a question for you, Carl. In my heart and in my mind, you are the 11th Ward GOP committee person, and folks need to know how Chicago works. You know, Chicago politics, it's its own animal by itself. You got your regular politics, you know, outside Chicago, then you have Chicago politics. Like I said in the beginning, me and Walter tried to get on the ballot for alderman, and we were kicked off. We're kicked off because what controls the system is the lawyers. The lawyers are paid off by politicians that are endorsed by big unions. And essentially, we didn't have much money, but we tried and we were kicked off like it was nothing. We don't plan on getting kicked off like it's nothing in the future, but we learned a lot. Carl, currently, right now, the Chicago GOP, in my opinion, is being infiltrated by Democrats as we speak. The Chicago GOP is making deals with Democrats, and it's unfortunate. They try to do a kangaroo court on you and try to kick you out. Want to talk about a little bit about that? They tried, but I don't think it's successful because the people elected you as 11th Ward GOP committee person. So, what do you want to talk about that? Where they tried to kick you out? They tried some sort of kangaroo court on you.
Exactly. Kangaroo court. I call it sometimes another vulgar joke by these political whores. So what happened, what you're referring to is I got a note around March of 2020 stating that the Republicans, Chicago, Cook County, Steve Bolton, Sean Morrison, they didn't like what I said on Facebook, so I'm no longer the committeeman. Like I said, it's a vulgar joke. They decided that I'm not the committeeman in 11th Ward because they didn't like what I wrote on Facebook. So again, it's welcome to the Banana Republic censorship country where if we don't like what you say, you're out.
That's horrible. Which
it
goes against your First Amendment. It goes against your First Amendment. Whatever opinion you have, that's your opinion. And why are they kicking you out of the GOP? I have no idea.
Oh, well, maybe, okay, maybe that's, maybe you don't mean it exactly that way. You probably have an idea, and I'll fill in your listeners what we're talking about. So I'm a conservative, so that's the whole reason why they threw me out.
Exactly.
I'm a Catholic, so that's the whole reason why they threw me out. I have guts, so that's why they threw me out. Most of them are effeminate and or homosexuals or homosexualists or no guts, or they're afraid of the Negro race. They're afraid of the newspapers.
Sure.
But let's get to the main point. The main reason is, I think you adequately mentioned it, they're bought off. They're getting city jobs and money from Richie Daley or Bill Daley or John Daley or Mike Madigan or Eddie Burke or name your political whore pimp. So
15 in 2 minutes.
I entered the Republican meetings, and I made all the meetings from 2008, and I spoke my piece, and they were petrified of me. They're like, who is this not? Who is this guy? He's actually running on morals and on the Constitution. So that's the reason why they threw me out. They were looking for something. There were other things that happened before that, like murder threats. But this is why they threw me out. They found something on Facebook, and they used that as the excuse to throw me out because I was the real Republican, the real conservative, the real constitutionalist that wanted to expose felonies, major crimes in Chicago, specifically the 11th Ward and the Cook County 11th District.
Right. That is a beautiful thing. Try to reverse corruption, which is all over the place, as you know. Yeah, it's a sad thing. These Republicans, supposed Republicans, I call them rhinos, which is perfectly sad. They do deals with Democrats. For instance, Walter, he had an incident where he paid $2,500 in order to, I he paid $2,500 in order to get on the ballot, and he paid that to Charlie Farrell. And Charlie Farrell is a known Democrat. He has his own print shop. And make a long story short, he took the money and ran. He never helped Walter. He took the money and ran. And that's what these Democrats do. They rip you off all the time. They're big time shysters. I guess we're going into commercial. All right.
Just a quick break.
Quick break. We'll be back.
Producing your own podcast can be frustrating.
Test.
It is.
1, 2.
I cannot hear.
Which is why I'm glad to be introducing the brand new multi-format network. We offer digital media, podcasting, and radio broadcasting professional standard production and syndication. Whether you're looking to bolster and polish your business presentations for a Zoom interview, host your podcast, or push your nationally syndicated radio broadcast to a satellite, we can facilitate your every need. So when you're ready to look, sound, and be professional, don't just try to do it yourself. Contact the professionals at the new multi-format network, the Multi-Format Network. From professional syndication to personal vindication, we've got your back. Shoot us an email, mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com. mfngeneralmanager@gmail.com.
Hello, radio listeners. Welcome to WCGO 1590 AM or 95.9 FM. We have a new conservative show on the airwaves, and it's called Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. I'm your co-host, Pat Gibbons. That being said, I'm going to pass the mic on to my friend and co-host, Wally. Hey, Wally, what do you hear? What do you say?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? We're just going to talk about the future about Chicago crime and the veterans in Chicago.
Tune in Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Conservative Talk Radio with Pat and Wally. Should be a great show. We look forward to your engagement. We'll be talking about safety issues in the city of Chicago, how our veterans need help and assistance better needed. Care. And also, too, very importantly, we are going to talk about the Chicago mayor that needs to be called out. I'm Pat.
I'm Wally.
And this is Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk. Tune in to Pat and Wally's Conservative Talk on Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. starting June 5th.
It is estimated that 1.5 million people are arrested for DUI every year in the United States. In Illinois alone, over 30,000 motorists are arrested for DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or drugs is one of the most complex of traffic charges on the books. Most people do not understand the complexities of the standardized field sobriety tests, which are horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand test. Due to improper testing procedures, many people are wrongfully charged with DUI. Whether you have been charged with a DUI or an attorney handling DUI cases, the book DUIs Decoded explains the proper procedures for standardized field sobriety testing, breathalyzer testing, and the penalties in Illinois for driving under the influence.
Real estate, be it residential or commercial, is often a person's most significant and priciest asset. Entering into a contract to buy or sell a real estate property is much more than just filling in the missing blanks on the printed contract. It's wise to hire a lawyer to prepare or review the offer to purchase real estate and take full advantage of his legal expertise. With Mark Sheblo, you will gain an attorney with over 26 years of legal practice and one who has helped thousands of clients to buy or sell their homes or investment property. We will safeguard your interests and might be able to even negotiate a better bargain than a client without proper legal counsel ever could. Oftentimes, a prospective buyer will submit an offer without first consulting an attorney, not realizing that once the offer is accepted by the seller, it becomes a binding contract. And the terms of that contract are not easy to be changed afterwards. Likewise, as a seller, you too will benefit from first consulting an attorney before signing. Feel free to call us for consultation at the law offices of Mark Sheblo at 773-775-5050. Our website is sheblolawoffice.com. Mark Sheblo can be reached 6 days a week at 773-775-5050, Monday through Saturday, located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's attorney Mark Sheblo, 773-775-5050.
Like live.
It's a road I like to take about. It's in my hometown. Make sure drive roads called and it'll take you down.
All right, we're back at WCGO 1590 AM on the Pat and Wally Conservative Talk with Mr. Carl Segvich, 11th Ward GOP Committee man, not person.
Man,
We're not going to fill in anything for these liberals today. We're not going to be, walking on eggshells. We're going to say it like it is. This is a conservative talk show. I come from a very good conservative background myself. My mom and dad are Catholic. I'm Catholic. Raised for conservative values. I'm pro-life, pro-gun, pro-police. Wally, want to say a little bit about your values?
Catholic, born and raised, pro-gun, and pro-police. We should have more safety on our streets.
Amen. Amen. And speaking of safety, how you like this past weekend? Carl, how you like this past weekend? 50 shot, 10 killed. Memorial Day weekend massacre, that's what I call it. 53 shot, 11 killed. Okay. It's becoming a war zone. The city of Chicago is a war zone. And what's very sad about this whole thing, going back to the Chicago GOP, you would think that they would practice conservative values. You would think that. But we were talking about how they make deals with Democrats, and Democrats don't share the same values as Republicans, and everyone knows that. Simply put, Democrats, they're for raising taxes, defunding the police, and killing babies. That's just my opinion. Carl, what do you think about the Chicago Republican Party? Is it going more to the left nowadays, or what would you say?
I do not mean to be overly technical, but and I don't mind talking about this. I love talking about it, and I hate talking about it at the same time. Let me explain. It's old, Wally, Patrick. This is old. These are infiltrators. These are double agents. These Republican committeemen, Republican elected officials are Democrats. They are double agents. So double agents, keep repeating that word. If we address any subject in the world and don't use the right language, and we do not use the right language, you're not going to hear it from CBS or any media. And by the way, let me back up a little bit. Congratulations again on your conservative talk radio show, because you have a lot of potential to really be the real truth tellers. Because you know who else is in on this scam? The other radio shows that call themselves conservatives. They're in on it. People would be shocked. They are all in on it. They never mentioned the name Sean Morrison. They never mentioned Steve Bolton, except for once or twice. John Cass is, if everyone's sitting out there, a lot of people know John Cass. He is in on it. People think that he's a truth teller. Everyone's in on it. So the point I wanted to get to was, I say this is old because Madigan was the runner for Old Man Daily back in the 1950s, 1960s. So this is, again, it's old. What Madigan and Burke did, and the Daly brothers, they planted Democrats as Republicans back in the 1960s. So what's going on today is no surprise. I told you that I got involved with politics in 1988. And then I didn't run again for public office until 2003. So it wasn't like I was in on it I was running every year. But I learned so much. And by the way, my college background is in political science.
Cool.
So you asked me what I think about it, and I go all over because I know so much that's happened all over. So I hope everyone's listening out there. To answer your question, what do I think about it? They got it down path. There are 50 committeemen in Chicago, because there's 50 wards, and in Cook County there are 30 townships. So in Cook County we have 80 committeemen. And I know I'm a conservative truth teller, right wing, whatever you want to call me, conservative, Catholic, Christian, Republican, pro-life. I cannot tell you out of the other 79 if there's one other honest conservative. I would say for sure none of them are as gutsy as I am. None of them are as passionate as I am. None of them are as strong as I am. None of them are as outspoken as I am. They're either bought off or they're weak or they're, as I said before, they're effeminate. They're afraid. They're cowards.
Sure.
So I just want to make it clear that nobody ever uses the word double agent, infiltration, infiltrators, double agent. Take, for example, Sean Morrison. Now, Cook County is the second largest, or is it third now? Largest county in the United States of America. Cook County controls Illinois.
And Carl, what's Sean Morrison's title so the audience knows?
Titles, plural. I was getting to that.
Okay.
He is Cook County Commissioner of the district out southwest, whatever number that is. There's only 17 Cook County districts. He is a Cook County Commissioner, and he is the chairman, the president, the chairman of the Cook County Republican Party. So he controls it all. That in itself is kind of it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's too much power. You should not have a Cook County Republican chairman who's also an elected official. So anyway, he kills all the opposition. He makes sure that nobody runs against Tony Preckwinkle and Tom Dart and all these very important Cook County offices. By the way, him, the other chairman before him, Liz Gorman, Tim Schneider, all political whores. They worked for Democrat John Daley. Now these are Republicans on paper. Tim Schneider, Liz Gorman, Sean Morrison. They worked for Democrat John Daley, Mayor Daley's brother, against me in 2014 for Cook County Commissioner of the 11th District, and I beat him, as I said. But the computers went dead in the morning and came back flipped. By the way, let me explain the numbers on that, if you will. The numbers, it's on my Facebook page. You can look it up. It's from NBC. Sure. I saved it. I screenshot it. I led John P. Daley, the incumbent, Mayor Daley's brother.
Right.
National story. They could never let this happen. 67% to 63%, with 62% of the vote in. That's called an insurmountable lead. I won. It was over. And that's why the computers went.
Carl, 67 to 33, right? Was it like?
Did I say? I think I said it wrong. 67%
yeah, you said 60%
to 33%.
Right.
With 62% already in.
Right. So, and somehow, in some way, John Daley beats you.
Yes.
What a miraculous thing.
I could have made my 92-year-old mother so proud of me. We would have cried and joy together. But that's not even. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is the country, the United States, the state of Illinois, Cook County has been overturned. The people took time to go vote. They donated thousands of dollars to me. Poor widows gave me $5, $2 to campaign, and they had their public office stolen away from them from the Democratic mafia.
George
Soros.
That cemetery vote kicked in there.
Yeah. The cemetery vote. This is all very old. So they planted these guys,
Absentees.
And then when they died, their son or their nephew becomes the Republican committeeman, and they're really Democrats. We can do a search how many of them actually have jobs, and to have a job on the city, you have to be a Democrat. Basically.
That's crazy. Do you intend to run again, Carl, for committeeman?
I am studying politics in the United States now, off and on for 40 years, 58 years. Now I've been studying politics the last 3 years in Europe, in Croatia and in Italy. So I'm traveling. I know the game is rigged. So I don't know if I'm going to run again. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I know what the problem is. I know a lot of the problems, but I don't have all the answers. George Soros and Bill Gates controls us. Obama's the president. from the basement. I don't know if I'm going to run again, Patrick. I'm sorry.
And you mentioned Steve Bolton earlier. Could you tell the audience who exactly Steve Bolton is with the Chicago Republican Party? His
I don't
title.
know. Yeah. I don't know exactly who he is, but I can tell you my encounters with him. I had some great encounters with him.
Okay.
He saved me he helped me in an election back maybe around 10 years ago when my opponent was a crook, a corrupt candidate, a fake candidate against me. And Steve Bolton helped me prevent this clown from getting on the ballot because he didn't deserve to be on the ballot. So that started a pretty good relationship. Then he ran for chairman of the Chicago Republican Party, and I was the one that actually seconded his nomination. At a time when I knew most people were crooked, but I did second his nomination because I had some hope for him. And the other person who I forgot was a bigger clown, a bigger cheater, a bigger liar. So there we go again, lesser of two evils. But he's very left leaning, as we come to see now. And then he sent me a note that he didn't like my Facebook message, and he told me that Sean Morrison don't like my message, and Sean Morrison told him, Steve Bolton, to throw me off, so he's thrown me off. So he's a clown. He's a lawyer. He's a fraud. He's a clown. He's
I mean, I don't think they can legally do that. You could probably sue him, right? Would you say, Walter?
I'm not sure.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, in the book said the Chicago Board of Elections, I mean, what it should state if you're on or off.
Yeah, you guys raise a good point. Steve, oh, by the way, Bolton is also a lawyer. So, yeah, is it illegal? Can we sue him was the question. This is why, after they impeached me and told me I was impeached and I was thrown out, which is laughable, let them go knock on the doors of the people that voted for me. I dare them. Tell them, we took your office away from the guy you hired to be the committeeman of the 11th Ward. Yeah, try that. So
I know exactly what you mean, Carl.
So after they did it, they thought about it a little bit, and they know that I got the guts to go right in their freaking face and take them to court. So now you don't hear too much about them throwing me off. And I would like to see them throw me out with their sergeant of arms, their thugs, their pimps, their gypsies, tramps.
I'll tell you this much, Carl, and it was behind the scenes before this interview. I'm not going to say who was approached, me or Wally, but someone was approached by Steve Bolton and the executive director, Jeff Fielder, not to have you on the show. But you're on the show and you're saying to the world your defense. I say that's your First Amendment right. Whatever you said on Facebook, you don't have to go into detail. That's your right. And who can tell you that you're out because you put something on Facebook that is your own opinion? That just doesn't make any. Well, we know why. It's because you're an actual conservative. That's the reason why.
Could you tell me who that was? What did you just say? Who were those two people, or what? You said one name, I think.
Well, Steve Bolton, the gentleman you just mentioned, and Jeff Fielder. He's the executive director. I believe that's his title.
Oh, Jeff Fielder and Bolton told you not to have me. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I don't know the other gentleman, so I can't. It's probably not a gentleman, obviously. So yeah, you don't surprise me with that, but thanks for sharing. And that's what we got to do. Because again, I don't have the answers. I don't know how to take our country back. I don't know how to take our county back. I don't know how to take the once beautiful city of Chicago back. But I mean, we all have some ideas. And one idea is that we have to have communication. So I'm looking at two conservatives. I hope you have 300 million listeners out there. And we have to communicate with each other. We have to have balls. You have to have guts. We got to share information. We got to get in their face. We got to, acknowledge that the country's been overturned. And, okay, some good news. Do you agree with me? There's not only more conservatives than liberals in the country. There are way more conservatives than liberals, but they just don't act on it. They don't put up signs. They don't put up bumper stickers. Right. They were afraid all these years to speak out.
We're the silent majority. That's exactly what we are.
Because look at all the people that don't vote. It's over 50% nationally, roughly. It's
It's a
over
shame.
70% in the
Yep.
city. Who do you think those people are? Do you think those are liberals? I don't think so, because the liberals come out and vote. They
Right.
got audacity, and it's the conservatives who tend to be Catholic and Christian, and they think being Christian it means to keep your mouth shut. No, it means to fight in the name
Right.
of Almighty God.
You know what I think it is, Carl? I have only a little bit of experience in this political game, but I think a lot of conservative Republicans think that when they look at someone in the ballot, they don't want to vote. I mean, look at the two bozos that was running for mayor, Johnson and Vallis. No right conservative Republican would vote for Vallis or Johnson. But then again, the Chicago GOP, even though they see Bolton himself sent out an op-ed saying that we're not helping Vallis, we're not endorsing Vallis, whatever the case may be, they were putting up signs for Vallis. So you tell me what's going on. You know, they're behind the scenes, they're helping Democrats instead of building an empire of Republicans. And Republican voters are smart. They see that. They're not going to vote for a Democrat at the end of the day. They're going to vote for a real Republican. And that's what we need. We need to talk up more. We need to speak up more. We need to get Republican candidates on the ballot that's not afraid to speak up. Amen.
Yeah. Well said, Patrick. Wally, you guys got to get the message out there, which reminds me of my next point I want to make. Name names. We have to name names. So let me name some of the bad guys. You got Jim Tracy, the chairman of the Republican Party of Illinois. We could talk about the chairman of the United States Republican Party later. That's Mitt Romney, of all people's niece or cousin. But Jim Tracy, I know a little bit more about Jim Tracy. I met him 10, 11 years ago when I was helped running a gubernatorial Republican candidate 13 years ago. Jim Tracy was running for some office downstate, and I looked in his eyes, and, you know, sometimes you could judge a book by the cover.
Mhm.
Jim Tracy is a Democrat. He's a fake Republican, and he's chairman of the Illinois Republican Party. So there's one name. Sean Morrison, we named him, but we got to keep saying his name. He's a chairman of Cook County Republican Party and a Cook County commissioner. Steve Bolton, we named him. Past chairman of the Cook County Republican Party, if you will indulge me. I dealt with Tim Schneider about 7, 8 years ago when he was helping John Daly run against me. And Tim Schneider was the chairman of the Cook County Republican Party at the time. And he's a multimillionaire. And he made this illegal deal with the Cook County board where he sold a golf course for millions of dollars and had it, you know, without nobody looking at it. One of the other past chairmen was Liz Gorman, another political whore. Her husband physically attacked me at a meeting one time. So back to Jim Tracy. Have you looked into Jim Tracy?
We'll do some research on Mr. Jim Tracy.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Because they do not run candidates. They just do not run candidates. Look who they ran. Jim Tracy ran this Aurora guy, Irving, for governor.
Oh,
another
that
Democrat.
Guy.
So
right.
Here we are with a Democrat running as a Republican. So then Pritzker, a visceral anti-Christian, anti-American,
Yes.
from what I understand, gave money somehow to Darren Bailey to run because he figured that Bailey would be easier to beat.
Right.
Yes.
And Chicago GOP endorse Richard Irving too. Surprise right there. Has basically Democratic connections. You know, also too, he didn't like Trump. Any guy that doesn't like Trump, I don't like them. I'm just saying for the record. You like Trump, right, Carl?
I got a whole theory on that.
Oh, come on, Carl. I was starting to like you. So
I don't know. I don't know if we have enough time to get into. I think the whole thing is it's a CIA script, NSA. They write the script years ago. Look at.
Okay.
I don't think there's any comparison between. No. I know there is no comparison between the Republican Party platform and the Democratic Party platform. One is evil and one espouses Christian values. There is no argument there. The argument comes in when you have fake Republicans like Trump may be or may not be, but for sure, Sean Morrison and Jim Tracy are fake Republicans. They're Democrats. They're infiltrators. They're double agents. And that needs to be pointed out. You know, Yeah, we could go into Trump at another show maybe because he did back
And you're
COVID.
always welcome to another show, right, Wally?
I'm against,
Yes,
you know,
he
I'm
is.
against Fauci and Gates.
Mhm.
And Donald was on the wrong side of that.
Mm.
Yeah, the COVID killed a lot of businesses.
Killed a couple of my friends. I mean, not the COVID, the fake vaccine and the hysteria around it killed a couple of my friends. And I'm sure your neighbors and friends too, you know, people that know people. It helped kill the country. Look it,
Mhm,
I'll
mhm.
say this about, could I say one more thing about Trump? Do you
You can
two
say
agree with me?
anything you want. Yes.
In November of 2020, obviously, he won the re-election. He won, right? Donald
Right.
Trump beat Joe Biden.
I would say so.
Yeah,
I
I
believe in
don't
it.
think it, you know, it wasn't close. You tell me, or anybody could tell me how Dinesh D'Souza could document all that. Did he just make all that up? So yeah, we know Trump won. The American people have been hijacked. Their office has been hijacked. But I'm not
Sure.
sure if it's all a play with or without Trump and Pelosi. But we're in trouble. We have God on our side. And again, there's way more good people than bad people. They're starting to wake up. Is it a little bit too little too late? I don't know. But we know
Mhm.
good wins over evil in the end. And that's why I know you guys are fighting for good and I love you.
Thank you. Would you say your 11th ward needs a lot of work as
Of
far
course.
as safety? Right.
Yeah, it's
Safety.
well, the 11th ward is the infamous ward of all 50. It's the cradle of the political whore Daley family.
The political mafia.
Mm. Interesting.
You could just look at issues like little issue. I mean, not little issues, but Halsted Street, Lincoln Park, all the way north, coming all the way south up until 22nd Street is in pretty good shape. Once you go south of 22nd Street, you're in the 11th ward and it's ghetto. Halsted is
Mhm.
ghetto, all run down.
And that's where the mayor is from. Interesting. We had 7 shot yesterday. One
That
kill.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
7 people getting shot every weekend. We're gonna have shootings. July 4th, they're not gonna hear fireworks. You're gonna hear gunshots. 50, 100 people getting shot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We have 15 minutes left.
Speaking of which, Carl, you've been talking about health and the shot, and I believe in that. I believe the shot is something I stay away from. I want to live, you know what I mean? So I stay away from it. So you were talking about this book with me, this book, and it had something to do with cancer prevention. Well, you want to talk a little bit about that book? It was last year you talked about a book with me.
Oh, you caught me off guard. I think you're referring to, was it The Flight of the Rondone? High school dropout versus Big Pharma? Does that sound familiar?
Was he from
Or was it
Chicago?
new? Wait. There's 2 books. Was it the one about high school dropout versus Big Pharma, or was it the one called New City? Both of them have Chicago backgrounds, but if you
Did that
said
guy
pharmacy,
died?
what?
Did a guy died?
No, it's not about a guy dying. I'm sorry.
Did he?
Well, talk about the book New City. Talk about that.
New City just came out about a month ago, written
Okay.
by my friend Patrick Gerandi. And the full title is New City, a story of race baiting and hope on the south side of Chicago.
Mm.
I strongly recommend that book. It talks about when all the races got along together and we could tell funny ethnic jokes. And there was none of this feigned outrage. Of course, we know that the racism is all orchestrated by Kim Fox and George Soros and those type of people, the Democratic Party mafia, to divide us. And thankfully, another good news is, Negroes, Mexicans, Chinese, they're all learning that this is all fabricated. They're just using it to divide us. And more of these minorities are becoming Republican and conservative. So that's what the book's about. It's about the 70s and 80s and how we all
Okay.
got along. And now they're just race baiting us. The blacks and the whites. And I don't like that term, blacks and whites, because those are Crayola colors. We are Polacks or Chinese people or Dagos or Mexicans, Irish, German. We're not white and black. They use
Right.
white to divide us. We're Europeans. We are Italians. We are Croatians. We are, go on and on, Japanese. But they did that to divide us. So that book is good to learn about how they lie about race. They just want us to war against each other.
That's a very
There's
interesting
good-
book.
there's
I
good
think I'm
cons-
going to buy that book.
The only divide is conservatives and liberals, and it's probably 97% conservative. The truth be told, no less than 90% conservative.
Mm.
It's just that those people don't vote. The other book about pharmacy, I recommend. Both books are by Patrick Gerandi, and it's published by Skyhorse Publishing, which is the same publisher of The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy.
Hmm.
The name of that book is a little tricky. The Flight of the Rondone. Rondone is an Italian word. Rondone.
Oh, that's the book I'm thinking of. Okay.
Okay.
Rondone, what's that mean?
It's a fast moving bird. So
Okay.
there's a metaphor of the fast moving bird. And
Rondone.
And it's about Big Pharma. Big Pharma, right?
Yeah. The
Okay.
subtitle tells the whole story. High school dropout versus Big Pharma. So he is a high school dropout, but he happens to be very, very, very extremely talented. And he's in a battle still, years ongoing, still today, against Big Pharma to get his medicine back that
Sure.
Big Pharma stole.
Mhm.
So I would look up Patrick Gerandi and get those two books. And there's 3 more coming out, 2 more this year.
And do you have the titles for the other 2 books coming out?
So The Flight of the Rondone is out. New City is out. The one coming next month or in a few months is Faded Genes. Faded Genes. Genes, Genes. So it's a little bit about the medicine again and bone marrow treatment. But the first
Wow.
two
Is that the one? Is that the one on cancer?
No, the one on thalassemia and medicine and disease is the first one. High school Flight of the Rondone,
Oh,
high
okay.
school dropout
Okay.
versus Big Pharma.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's interesting because the author Patrick Gerandi, apolitical, met last week with Robert F. Kennedy, who is running for the Democratic nomination.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
So the subject,
So the
the
fix is
tie-in,
in already.
I'm sorry.
Oh, with the fixes in already.
Yeah, well, so these two gentlemen, at least Robert F. Kennedy and Patrick Gerandi, are speaking out against Big Pharma.
I like Robert F. Kennedy. He is a rare conservative on the Democratic side.
Yeah, it's definitely another show for you guys. I wanted to say something else. I got a minute?
You have 10 more minutes.
So
With
to
all
all
the
your
time in the
listeners out
world.
there, my experiences as a Republican, probably, they broke my windows. We can go on and on. Probably the worst thing that happened to me was at a meeting. This was a Republican meeting. And of course, we Republicans are supposed to be racists. If you listen to the channel 2, 3, 4, 5 news.
Sure,
This
we're
is the
racist, we're
Republican-
xenophobic, we're all that stuff.
Yeah. This is a Republican meeting in 2014, Wednesday, April 16th, Spy Wednesday. It's called the day before Holy Thursday. We Christian Catholics celebrate. Judy Bartopinko was there. God rest her soul. A very corrupt, rotten lady. And I told her so at the meeting, and I called her out at the meeting. Another reason why I'm hated so much. Well, I was accosted right after that meeting by her. She got in my face. She left. Somebody else got in my face. The chairman at the time was Liz Gorman. Her husband was drunk at the bar. He got in my face. And now I was getting emotional. I wanted to start punching people. And I had nobody on my side, maybe one person, but not too much support. And this Gorman guy was making homosexual jokes about me, asked me if I wanted to step outside. I wanted to punch him, and I was laughing at the same time. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't ready to get attacked like that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to get to the door to get onto Halsted Street. The meeting was on Halsted on the north side. I
Hmm.
go for the door, and
Oh.
this street. Are you with me so far?
Oh, I'm with
Yes.
you.
I almost make it out the door, and this street thug, Negro guy, about 45, 50 years old, with a hat on and a black leather jacket, says, "Carl Segvich."
Please don't
And I
say
said,
the
"Yeah."
N-word.
No, no, he said, "Carl Segvich." I said, "Yeah." And he put his arm around me and he whispered in my ear, "Let me tell you something," he said. "If you ever say anything about Judy Bartopinka again, I will cut your head off. You hear me? That's what I do for a living. I cut heads off." I said, "What's your name?" And he wouldn't give me, and I don't give you my name. I said, "Well, next time tell Judy to send a man, not a woman." And I walked onto the street, and another funky Republican by the name of Jay Reyes followed me on the street. So I know that he's in on it. He said, "Carl, come here. I got to talk to you. Look into my eyes. These people have watched too many gangster movies." So my point being, they threatened to murder me. And there's no doubt that there is heavy campaign work, political work being done by street gangs. I don't know if it's the El Rukins, M13, the Disciples, whatever these thugs call themselves. But these people watch too many Godfather movies, too many casino movies, too
I call them
many gangster
savages,
movies.
actually.
Politics are run by gangsters for money. The love of
Right.
money is the root of all evil. It says it right there in the Bible. I'm not a Bible thumper. I don't read the Bible that much. Shame on me. I should read the Bible more often. But that's one line I remember. The love of money is the root of all evil. Because you know what I think? A lot of these guys we talked about, that I talked about today, I think that if conservative Republicans took over the country and they still had jobs, guess what? I think they would be pro-Christian. They would be pro-life. They would go along with us. They're just doing it for the money. Because if you see them, Sean Morris and these guys, they got suits and ties on. They look like clean-cut kids. They don't look, or guys, or women, but they're whores for the money. That's my point. Thank you.
And you make a very valued point, Carl. You really have. If the Chicago GOP gave you the opportunity to come back to meetings and stuff to that nature, would you come back to the Chicago GOP?
I'm going.
You're going anyways.
Whenever there's time, I'm going to go. I have a busy schedule because I fly overseas studying politics in Croatia and in Italy. I'm flying back and forth, but I'm going. And I challenged, they told me I'm out because they didn't like
5 minutes.
I mean, I'd love to see them in court. Of course, they'd probably have a corrupt, drunken judge.
I'll tell you what, Carl, the day you come back for a meeting to the Chicago GOP, let me come with you to make sure you come through that door. Because if you don't, we'll do a press conference right in front of their office and tell the press exactly this, what's going on. I feel that this is bias, and it's, quite frankly, it's discrimination, really, against one's opinion. Whatever opinion you had on Facebook, that's really no one's. I mean, you can talk about it if you want, but it's at the end of the day, it's your opinion. Everybody makes opinions on Facebook. Okay. I mean, and some people that make opinions on Facebook, quite frankly, I think they shouldn't have a Facebook, and they're 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have Facebook accounts. You would think they would know what they're doing. They're grown up. No, they put the most ridiculous stuff on Facebook. So, I mean, you look at some of the Chicago GOP people, I'm not naming any names, but I've seen some very ridiculous stuff they've posted. Steve Bolton is known for bullying certain people, which we'll talk about in other shows. But, he gets away with that stuff. It just seems like you were discriminated, you were ostracized, you were just kicked out of the party. And the day you come back for a meeting, I want to be right there with you, Carl, so you can go through that door.
Yeah, thank you for your support, that you want to come to the meeting with me, where the chairman is a Democrat. Sean Morrison was a Democrat his entire life. It's public record up until 2007. Even in 2008, when Obama ran for president, Sean Morrison voted Democrat, and then Madigan and Daley got him to run as a Republican so they could run interference and block everybody. These people are Again, we got to name names and we got to use the right vocabulary. These other guys on the radio, they have a back off point. They're afraid to go all the way. They just call it bipartisan. They never talk about Sean Morrison's security business that he has. He even sponsored a conservative radio show and they allowed him to be a sponsor. He's a Democrat. Jim Tracy's a Democrat. They're millionaires. Tim Schneider's a millionaire, stole millions of dollars from the county with his fake golf club sale. But thanks for coming with me and sticking with me. I know we've been talking for a couple of years now. Looking forward to meeting you in person, both of you.
No, we look forward to it too. We should have dinner.
Come on down.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple minutes left until
2 minutes.
2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. Carl, is there anything you would like to say to the audience?
I'll give you another story for your audience. Everyone thinks John Cass is, John Cass writes very well and he seems like a conservative. Well, I dare John Cass to meet me again and debate me on your show or any show and explain to the world why he did what he did to me. What did he do to me? I gave him the documents pertaining to John Daly and the mafia stealing my office, the people's office, excuse me, and giving it to John Daly when I beat John Daly. And John Cass was surprised that I approached him. He said, "Oh, you're Carl Segvich?" I said, "Yeah." And I caught him totally off guard. He was smoking a cigarette with his sidekick in front of the Tribune Tower. And he physically got in my face he threatened me with physical body language and asked me, "Could I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah."
60 seconds.
Do you have a beeping problem with me? The whole effing word. Do you have and I was shocked. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. So that is called a tell. He must be in on it.
That's
Because he didn't want to handle the documents that showed me beating John Daly.
Wow.
Chicago politics. It's its own animal by itself.
It's the beast.
There you go.
30 seconds.
Hey,
You guys have
thanks for
great
tuning in.
potential.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. WCGO 1590 AM, the Pat and Wally Conservative Talk. We'll be here tomorrow with guest Bill Morton, 49th Alderman candidate. Nice.
Month of June, Sacred Heart Month.
WCGO 1590 AM, W240EH 95.9 FM, Evans.
Negro.
That's a legit. Hey,